Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I've got game 3 of a best of 3 from the IPL 5 Korean qualifiers, and it is between TSLValuE, who is the red Protoss player, and EGJYP, who is the pink Protoss player in the top right. The map is Daybreak. It is the tournament version, so the supply depots are there. Daybreak is probably one of everyone's favourite maps. It's so balanced, it's got a lot of different options to it. It just works well, it's fun to play on, and I think everyone just loves it. So definitely glad to see this third and final game being played here. Now, this may not be the third game. I'm a little bit confused, I think it is, but I don't guarantee it. So I think I may have got the first and third games confused, but I won't know until the end of this one, if there's any giveaways. So we'll wait and see. But of course, if you haven't watched game 1 and 2, flick over to my channel because they are awesome as. So definitely give them a watch. All of these TSL IPL 5 games have been absolutely astounding. So do check them out. They are just so good. The entire playlist is really awesome, to be honest with you. So what can we expect from these players? Well, it's PvP, which means it could be anything from a proxy 2-ax to a 3-gate pressure, 4-gate pressure, 3-gate robo. There's just so much that can happen in the early game alone, let alone the mid game, then the late game. There's airplay, there's DT rushes, there's a lot, basically, and I'm not going to try and pretend I'm an expert in PvP. It's probably my weakest matchup in understanding, but these two players are absolutely amazing. And I mean, game 1 we saw JYP go for that proxy 2-ax, which worked really well. And then in game 2 we saw JYP attempt to go for that Phoenix play, but ValuE just held it with a single Immortal and Stalkers and a couple of Sentries, and then went in to grab those additional additional blink on the Stalkers and just keep pumping Stalkers, kept microing them so well, and basically just worked beautifully. Now, if we take a look around, obviously both players are going to be very happy to see that there are buildings in the other person's base. That was why JYP just went over here, just to basically have a quick scout round to make sure there wasn't any proxy shenanigans going on, because he'd know all about them after game 1 wrecking ValuE so well there. So I am really interested to see which player wins this series. I think it's going to be really close, and that always makes great games. So we do have the chrono boost going out on the Cybercore and the Gateway just as they are up at JYP base. The only difference so far is that, of course, a second Gateway on its way out for JYP. Both players on the 2 gas, everything is pretty much the same. So it will be fun to see how this plays out. Now, what I'm doing for all of this set of games is experimenting with putting things on 2x speed when not much is going on. So let me know if you think that works well. Let me know if you prefer me to play the entire game at standard speed. Now, we do have the Twilight Council on its way out there for JYP, so that suggests we might see some blink. ValuE, on the other hand, going for the Gateway and Robotics facility. So everything normal. JYP getting out the Dark Shrine, so we're going to see a DT rush. That is awesome fun. He's checking around everywhere, gonna go and hide a pylon somewhere, and basically if that robotic facility makes an observer, JYP, your strategy's gonna fail, and that will of course make everyone sad. But we do see that an Immortal is the first thing on the cards, the expansion coming down here for JYP, and that Dark Shrine is getting close to finishing. We do have that pylon. The Immortal is nearly done though, and what's following up, it is an Observer. I've put everything back on normal speed now, just because things could get a bit more hectic soon, and it's really just that first little bit. So let me know in the comments if you like on 2x speed for just a little while. Now, so far, we've got that probe taking damage. The expansion now a lot earlier for JYP. I mean, it's already half done, and so far ValuE hasn't even started doing it, but in come the DTs, but the Observer is there, and those DTs are running away ever so quickly. We'll just get away though, so that's lucky times. We could always see the Archon morph, which I think is the most likely thing now. Obviously that Observer is out, but more gateways being added on here, and of course one DT is, I hope my opponent doesn't have detection. 2 DTs are I really hope. Anything more than 2, you basically just pray with everything that your opponent doesn't have detection, otherwise you just curl up and cry in a ball. So Value only just starting his next stam, and it's only a quarter done, and this next is already up and running for JYP. That's going to be very, very helpful. Value also going for that robotics base, so we're going to see the Colossus tech on its way out, which is proper tier 3 units. These DTs still haven't actually turned into an Archon yet, which I'm a bit surprised at, but we do have that War Prism on its way out for Value. We do have the robotic facility coming out for JYP, but if we take a look at the worker count, JYP really quite significantly ahead, and if we look at the income, that's reflected there, about 300 more minerals a minute being mined. The gas is equal at the moment, but of course the third and fourth gas just going down now for JYP. That's going to help him. It's going to be quite a lot earlier, where that extra gas is so critical in Protoss versus Protoss games. So we do have the Archon there morphed in at last, and this is really just starting to become a much more well-rounded army. We do have the double immortal drop though. That can do absolute massive damage, especially if it isn't scouted. But this probe, the probe is moving just in the right position. Is it going to stop and stay there? If it does, everything would be revealed. But is it? I genuinely don't know. Did he see it? I don't think he did. So that War Prism is going in, and a lot of these units, well, basically a lot of JYP's units are the other side of the map. He's only got these 3 units remaining, and while these aren't going to be able to do a lot of damage, he's going to suddenly wonder, well, hang on, I'm sure I saw an Immortal before. Where has that gone? But in comes the Immortal drop down the back, and we're going to see some probes get taken out. If not, we're going to see a lot of tech get taken out very, very quickly. A quick warp in of Stalkers there, but we will see the Colossi on its way down for Value, but only a handful of Stalkers. A great blink there for JYP. And I don't, Blink isn't done of course for Value so far. If we look, both Immortals got away there. How many units were killed? Well, if we take a look at the workers killed, 3 and 4, so that's very, very even. And if we look, JYP incredibly ahead in terms of supply, and generally one would assume the player who is that far ahead in terms of income will always come off better. I mean, the gas income is what's really noticeable here for JYP, because he does have that third and fourth. He's had it up for a long, long time, and that's going to help him get these much more expensive units out quicker. But of course the Colossi is out and is engaging. Extended thermal lance I don't believe is done yet. No, it hasn't even been started to research, which is going to be very, very important. JYP still has this proxy pylon, which can come into play later on and be very, very helpful. The cannon on the way down here, we've got an additional gateway, and for the moment this is actually a pretty nice wall off. We've also got that pylon coming down there. That'll probably get cancelled at some point, because otherwise it's going to be quite difficult to get in and out of this base. So we do have the Stalkers poking up. JYP does have the Observer there moving forward, just keeping an eye out for everything going down. The Forge on its way, slightly earlier Forge. Extended Thermal Lance has just started production. That is going to make everything a lot easier for Value, because JYP, he hasn't even finished his robotic. He has finished his robotics bay actually, but hasn't started that extended thermal launch yet. Even though he's got a lot of gas banked up at the moment, he's getting a second robotic facility now, so that's going to really ramp up any production. And there goes that extended thermal lance. Now, of course, if we take a look here, we will see that Value is trying to drop down a couple of zealots, but this is just such a nicely defended position that I think it'll be incredibly hard for JYP to push through, especially with those 2 Colossus there and none of his own. We do have double Colossus in production, so JYP is really going to utilize that additional income in order to get maximum numbers of units on the field. And he has contained Value really, really nicely at the moment, but that 1 zealot is still there and is going to prevent a third base attempt from JYP at the moment, although that 1 zealot is about to meet a lot of people who aren't very happy with him. It's going to be worse than a football game, and that War Prism is like, no, you're going out of there. 2 pylons getting dropped down, so that's the sign of an expansion coming. And Value not having any of it, he's going to move out and really just take map control dominance. Both players now are Colossus Tech. Both players do have extended thermal lance done. Charge on the way for JYP though, which hasn't been shown yet. The 1-1 upgrade, very, very similar in timing, about 10 seconds ahead actually for JYP, which is interesting and obviously means he's getting even further ahead. If we look at the work count, 55 to 50, the timing of this third base is going to be really, really critical, but judging by the fact that Value is trying to move down now, he's got the probe there, they should actually get down their thirds at a relatively similar point, and the War Prism does get sniped off there. Great forward blink by JYP, and of course Value, if he does get contained too badly, he's going to have problems. A nice attempt at a force field, but unfortunately Blink outworks force fields. And the third base already started for JYP. That's going to help him so much more. Colossi are on their way across. Not quite sure where this one's going. This is a bit like a lost Colossus. It's just going for a little trip. Might try and defect to the opposite team, but probably won't go too well. May just go and try and help these Stalkers in doing a bit of containment, but 4 Colossi versus 1 is never too fun, and if this does actually get lost, which it very well may do in this position, there'll be an absolutely massive loss, and JYP must have misclicked there. That losing a Colossus that easily is a very, very bad play, basically. There's no other way of saying it. The Colossus count is of course 6-4 in Value's favour. He's also got more Immortals, but less Stalkers by quite a lot, and also a lot less Zealots, so that's really interesting to see how that'll play out. If we actually look at the army composition, well, a lot more minerals in JYP's army, but a lot less, well, a little bit less gas actually. So, I mean, if we actually take a look at everything we've got here, army supply-wise, JYP is ahead. Workers' supply is absolutely equal, but the third base is finished for JYP, and it's only about 2/3 done here. The DT for JYP, that's on its way. It could come and poke in there and do a little bit of damage, but is it going to, or is he just going to sit there and watch? He's just a scouting Dark Templar. He's a pacifist, and of course the cannon's now done. So that's sad times for that Dark Templar. Not going to be able to do anything. And essentially now both players are on 3 bases, and as a Protoss you can do pretty much anything on 3 bases, so that is all damn good fun, but neither are going to engage for quite a long time, I would imagine, because you don't want to have a big head-on engagement when you're not quite sure if you can win it, because especially when you've got a high Colossus count, if you don't win that engagement you have massive, super big problems where you basically just lose, because you can't get the additional Colossus out in time, and obviously you are reliant on the warpins. So just taking a look around here, we've got the High Templar on their way out. That will help with, well, getting Archons for value. And I mean, looking back at both players' bases, a lot of warp gates out for both of these players right now. The double robotic facility I don't think has been matched yet by Value. I think he's still just operating off the 1. He's getting more gateways down though, but that double robotic facility is going to really help in terms of the army composition and getting a lot of Colossus out quickly. And you also hear JYP only 2 Colossus behind at 7, but this is all pretty hectic. So I'm really interested to see when these two players do go head to head how it goes. JYP pretty much maxed out now, has exactly 20 army supply lead at the moment, but of course just so many Colossus are there. A good 4 Blink just hiding exactly what is going on, but there is that observer there, and I don't think it is going to get taken down. So just watching this is absolutely crazy. I mean, this is a bit of a fake right now. These Stalkers coming down, and this is going to allow JYP to come around the back. That could be big, big problems. But the War Prism is going to see absolutely everything here, and very, very quickly we will see Value try and readjust to this. And JYP nearly had the most beautiful opening of an attack I think I've ever seen, but unfortunately didn't pay off. We do have some Stalkers just poking and prodding around. And in the meantime, Value is getting up his Stargate, but we've got another robotics facility on its way out for JYP, who's just ramping up that production. He's got an awful lot of minerals there, and it's just getting a bit of a trust fund. He does have his 4th base about to finish, so that'll put him a base up. Needs to take those extra gas though if he wants to really ramp up the Colossus production. And I mean, both these players are pretty equal in upgrades. We were 2 with the 3-1 on the way against +2 with 3-1 on the way. So upgrade wise, this is really, really equal. JYP probably is ahead in the armor upgrades, but a little bit behind in the +3 upgrades. So he will have a brief window where he isn't ahead in those upgrades, but how it pays out we will wait and see. And just a couple of Zealots actually getting sacrificed there to probably free up supply, I would imagine. Otherwise they are very, very suicidal Zealots, which won't be able to achieve anything by just running in. And slowly we've got Value pushing forward and taking back the map control. JYP does not want to be taking these engagements until he's very confident, although he does now have his fleet beacon on the way, so we're going to see a mothership almost certainly, which of course makes everyone so happy. Obviously over Value's side, I don't know if he is getting down his fleet beacon as well, so we're going to see Either mass carrier, which would make me insanely happy, or motherships, which would make me insanely happy. Either way, there's going to be a very happy caster right here. So I do hope you're all happy about seeing carriers and or motherships. But the fourth base is going to probably get denied here. We've got a bit of an engagement going on. Neither player have a very good arc right now. A good blink comes out. Those Colossi are able to engage a lot more effectively, though, it would appear, for JYP. And who's coming out better from this fight is really tough to tell. If we look at the loss tab, it was Value who came out a lot better there. And even trying to arc around and pin these units back, the Pitfall of Daybreak is getting caught around there. And now all of these Colossi are able to engage. They're doing absolutely massive damage. One falls already for JYP. A second nearly going down. The Immortals are in there. They soak up a lot of fire. And with this, Value could actually just flat out win. He kills the entire Colossus force. And there is the GG. Wow, that was really unfortunate there for JYP. But Value will now take this series 2-1. So that was an awesome fun game. I hope you did enjoy the series. If you did, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to my YouTube. New awesome games up every single day. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching, and do tune in again. Bye for now.